Hello, everybody. This is Katie Ganderton, also known as Tenacious Kate, here with another episode on our podcast. This is episode number 14, and we are talking about setting boundaries in a remote work environment and how it can present some unique challenges. And I feel like this is a very important topic as people have morphed or been forced to really work from home. Over these last couple of years, and many have stayed at home, right? And so there's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely creates this different type of work environment that a lot of people have had to have a major adjustments to, and that's okay. But as long as we're adjusting to it, that's the biggest, that's the that's the big takeaway right there, right? So I have seven things I want to go through, 7 tips on how we can set boundaries in a remote work environment, so that we don't have to deal with such unique challenges. And so the first, some of the challenges we face are the blurring of work and personal life, right? And remote workers may struggle to separate their work and their personal lives, leading to an increased risk of burnout. How many of you guys on here are just going, oh my gosh, yes, because you get caught up in the phone, you get caught up in having to respond instantaneously. I'm in the direct selling industry, and I know when I first started my business, well, not first started because it's been well over, 20 plus years, but in the most recent company I've been with, which is just over 5 years, I remember, like, as we were taking off, I felt like I had to be at the beck and call of any message from a teammate, from a customer, whatever that might be. And it could have been at like 10:30 at night, right? And I felt like if I didn't answer right away, I was being bad. I was being, this bad customer service person, and that I had to make sure that I was at answered them, and that I was there at all times, right? Talk about an easy way to get yourself burnt out. Okay, the second one is difficulty disconnecting. And just like I just said right now, I still deal with some teammates that'll message me late at night, and it's like nobody's dying because they can't return an item at 11 p.m. at night, right? Like, you don't get mad if you go to, Ulta or Sephora and it's after hours and they're closed, right? You're not sitting there just going, oh my gosh, how dare them have hours, and how dare them close and go somewhere, to their families, right? So the difficulty of disconnecting, so with no physical separation between work and home, it can be really difficult for remote workers to switch off and disconnect from work. And that is something I'm actually in the process of right now, because I have set myself up in my business to where I would be doing calls in the evening time during the week. And, I'm at that place in my business and life that I'm like, I don't necessarily, I mean, I can still continue to do it if I want to, but it's like, I don't really want to do that anymore. I want to be home. I want to be present. I want to make sure that I have got clear boundaries around my family time and when my children come home from school. And so, I am in the process of shifting my entire schedule to accommodate that. And I'm taking things off of my plate in some of those evenings and reshifting them to the daytime, because honestly, for those people, like, we have this thing in our head that we think people are going to get so upset if we change, from, doing something in the evening time to then shifting it to the daytime. And truth be told, like, some people might be like, I used to be on there consistently, or, maybe it's still going to go on, but maybe this person's not going to be there. She's going to be here during the day. Like, if they get mad over somebody adjusting their schedule to fit the way that they want their life to be, then there needs to be a boundary around that. That means that they're not respecting the boundary that you're setting for yourself. And so, setting those boundaries for yourself are very, very important. And, you want to continue to make sure that you are setting yourself up with the type of day that you want to lead. And that is really important, is thinking about the type of day that you want to live. Do you want to be working, 24/7? Chances are no, right? You want to enjoy that time, that downtime, that family time, that time with the spouse, the time with, whoever it might be. You want to enjoy that time with them. So it's really important to set your day up to emulate that. And that way it just starts to change, and you start to accommodate, and you fit everything else in when you want to get it in those work hours that you're giving yourself. Number 3 is lack of structure, right? Without a clear separation between work and personal life, remote workers may find it difficult to establish a routine and structure their day. It's funny, I was talking about this over in our Tenacious Kate Facebook group today. I do a training every single Monday in that group, and you want to be in there. It's a fantastic group to be part of. and we're really catering to that middle to upper level leader in the direct selling industry. And that's what we're really starting to shift that group to. But one of the things right here that we talked about was finding and establishing a routine for those people that maybe are coming home from an office, right? So for an example, I was a dental hygienist by trade, and I was working 4 days a week. And so for me, when I was able to retire myself, and I pulled myself away a day at a time, but when I fully left that career, it took me a solid year to adjust to getting into some form of scheduled routine, because I was so accustomed to how my day was. I was trained. I got up, I did these things, I got my scrubs on, I went to work, I saw my patients, I did my lunch. Like, I was very regimented in that. And so when you take all of that away and you have this open 8 to 9 hour block of day that no longer is filled with patients or whatever it might be, whatever your career is, but as people develop into leadership in the direct selling industry and they get into this middle and upper level leadership, this is a point where many people, you don't have to leave a job, but many people do start to cut down, because that's one of their visions of what they wanted with that kind of career and why they are doing that kind of, added on that career to their plate. And so when they do come home at that point, that is like a middle to upper level leader that is starting to have this excess time. And when you don't have a schedule or a routine in place, or you don't start to implement something, you can feel very lost. You can feel as if you're spinning your wheels. You don't know what to do. You have all this time. And then guess what? Nothing gets done, because you're so regimented and used to getting something done in such a structured environment that you only had a small nook and cranny to be able to get that to get those tasks done. And so you got it done because it's all the time that you had. And now that you opened up your schedule, you have this mass of time to get it done. And therefore, when we're given, what do they say? Give them an inch and they'll take a mile. Like, you're only given this, and you don't have time to take advantage of it. But when you have this big block of time now, we take that entire block of time and then some, because we're not as regimented and structured in that. So really, when you're coming home, or you are in that transitional period, or maybe you just have become that, you really want to sit down and you want to figure out what you want your day to look like, and how do you want it structured? What do you want to, what is your ideal day consist of? And then you want to start to create that day with time blocking. Okay. Number 4, distractions at home. So remote workers may be more likely to be distracted to household chores, family members, right? Other distractions in their home environment. How many of you, including myself, I'm so guilty of this, you get up to go do something, whether it's go to the bathroom, get a snack, and all of a sudden you're doing the dishes, you're putting a load of laundry in, you're picking up shoes from kids, you are letting the dogs outside. Like, it's turned into 30 minutes of chores, right? I'm guilty of it. Like, it's okay. I totally get it. One of the things that we have to really be conscious of is staying focused. And when we don't have a plan for that time block of what we're supposed to be doing, it's very, very easy to get off task. And so, if you have the opportunity, one thing you could do is you can hire someone to help you. If that's something that you find like, oh my gosh, this is just such a distraction, you can hire that out. Okay. To have somebody help you with the house, help with the laundry. Like, they are there, they're available, they are phenomenal. And it lets you stay focused on what you're supposed to be doing for your daily chores. If that's not the opportunity, then you definitely want to make sure that you're blocking your time. And that's something that you say, okay, well, I'm going to do this for whatever. I'm going to do my meetings on this day till this time. I'm going to take an hour. Open up your schedule and say, okay, I'm doing housework. I'm going to do housework, whether it's putting clothes away, doing laundry, getting the dishes, cleaning the kitchen, whatever that looks like. But block it out in your time so that you are accountable for every minute in that day, and you know what's happening with it, okay? And you don't let it fall through the cracks. Number 5 is isolation. Remote workers often feel isolated and disconnected from colleagues, okay? And this can definitely impact their sense of belonging and motivation. I understand that, because for me, like, when you're out and about, you're around people, you have conversation all the time. For me, none of my kiddos are home. They're all at school during the daytime. And so it's me and my 3 dogs. My husband occasionally, we were both working from home, but he actually went and just opened up a new little office so that he has the opportunity to get out of the house. And so for me too, what that looked like for me was we have a gym in our house. We have an amazing gym, but it's also one of those things that I thought, gosh, I wake up, I would go down and work out, and then I come back up, I shower, I get dressed, and I'm in my house all day long. Right. So I ended up, I still do use our gym downstairs, but I ended up getting a gym membership just so I could get out and actually be around people. Sometimes I'll also go to a coffee shop to get some work done. I will make sure that I plan different things during the week. Like if I wanted to go get my hair done or my nails done or something where I make sure that I get out and about and around people, because again, we do need that connection. Not whether you're talking to somebody or not, but you do want that connection. And the other piece too that you can do for this is you want to set up calls. You should have some of your leaders. You should have some of those people that have become close to you. I feel like as you age, that circle gets a little bit smaller, but I do think, having that conversation and say, hey, do you got 5 minutes? I love to chat with you. How's it going? Like having those people that you can pick up and just have a conversation with really quickly will be helpful for that. Number 6 is unclear expectations. And I talked about this a little bit earlier, but without those clear boundaries, remote workers may struggle to know when they are expected to be on and when they can take breaks or focus on personal matters. You guys, so I already mentioned this one. This has to do with getting it on your calendar. That is all about the boundaries. And so again, knowing like, okay, I have time to do chores. They're going to still be there, right? But if you have a deadline that you need to get to, you want to make sure that you're setting boundaries around that so that you are intentional with your time and not just like, oh my gosh, I've got to go wash that same load of laundry that's now been sitting in the washer and I've already washed it 5 times. It's going to be okay. All right. So making sure those boundaries are there, because you can push certain things off that are not super important at that time when you have other matters that are much more pressing that need your attention for that time being. Okay. And then lastly, number 7 is lack of face-to-face communication. So remote workers may miss the opportunity to have face-to-face conversations with colleagues, which can definitely affect their ability to build relationships and establishing those boundaries. So again, that face-to-face, I know like things have definitely opened up since we've been through the pandemic, but getting around people. And like I said, go sit at a coffee shop. It might not be that you are sitting and having coffee with somebody, unless you have somebody that you know locally that you want to have over or go to have coffee with, which is fantastic. But making sure that you, again, put yourself in that scenario of like, having to have some sort of communication, whether it's ordering something, whether it's a small conversation, something like that, so that way you still build those skills, because it is a skill to have a conversation and it is a skill to build that relationship and grow it. So again, that could also be via Zoom. That could be, I know sometimes we talk about live videos. We do a lot of the live videos like this, where I'm not really talking to anybody except for a computer, but I know if I'm live and I'm interacting with somebody on the computer on the other way, I know I can't necessarily see them face to face, but I do get to interact with what it is they're asking me. And we can work through a scenario like that. So I love this topic. This is a super, super, I think, important topic with people. And I think people struggle because it can create some loneliness. It can create some depression. It can create that isolation feeling. And these are some ways to help you not overwork yourself, but also keep a healthy, relationship with those around you. And so to overcome some of these challenges, you guys remote workers, establish those clear boundaries and those routines, communicate your needs and expectations with your colleagues. So if you don't want to work in the evenings, then communicate that. Okay. And make an effort to stay connected with their needs. Okay. Let's see here. You want to stay connected with your team as well. And additionally, you can help by setting clear guidelines and expectations to other remote workers and ensuring that they have the support and resources they need to be successful in a remote environment. Because chances are, if you happen to be feeling some of these emotions yourself, I can guarantee you that you've got teammates and you've got other people that are also feeling the same thing. So it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to share what you're going through. It's okay to reach out, because chances are they may be feeling the same and they're going to be so happy to hear your voice. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me for episode 14 of the Tenacious Kate podcast. My goal is to help those mid to upper level leaders use that tenacity to level themselves to the top of their company or to their next level. And I'm just so excited to be here. I love this group. Make sure you're in our Tenacious Kate community. Make sure you give us a 5-star review, like us, share us. We would love your feedback. And we will see you guys next week for our next episode. Take care. Bye.